Here we are in the studio again there, Joyce. And
I feel like we did a whole show already.
Me too.
And there's so much more to talk about.
I mean, the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on here in the studio, that's pretty amazing. We'll have to do like a behind-the-scenes clip type show at some point down the line.
Both you guys need a camera on you all the time.
What's Good with John and Joyce is sponsored by Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events venue in Brantford, Connecticut, and Silvio's award-winning Italian sauces, which you can buy anytime online at silviosauces.com. That's silviosauces.com. Without further ado, hey, welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce. And it's just been a lot of fun doing this, Joyce. We've had so many great guests, but I'm really pumped up about this. We had a meeting this morning on the phone, and people were saying to me, John, you sound really riled up today. Yeah. And so we had this guest coming in. This guy's amazing. You know, TV star and won a reality show like I think a year ago about this time.
Claim to fame.
Claim to fame, social entrepreneur, which I love, uses music as healing. And we know the power of music, being in the music business as we are. And he's, Michael Bolton is his uncle, or he is Michael Bolton's nephew. Whichever way you prefer. That's pretty big stuff. But this guy is amazing. I've known him for a while. Joyce, I know you have as well. It's a real honor and privilege to have this gentleman here who's making a lot of positive impact in the world today. Adam, welcome. Adam Christoferson, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce.
Thank you very much for such a beautiful intro. You got
Well,
me tearing up a little bit here.
You have earned it.
Looking at you, man. I'm almost tearing up.
No, you've earned it. You're an amazing guy. Joyce and I think the world of you and what you're doing to make this world a better place. That's what we're trying to do with this show. And you represent this show in so many ways.
Well, I'm starting to feel your show. I was listening to it on the way over. I listened to it a little bit during the week, and that's what it is. You're providing this incredible platform for people to sit with themselves without the nonsense of the outside world and the distractions, and just soak in what's really going on.
Well, like you said, it's a safe haven.
Yeah.
It's a safe haven, right, Joyce?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I selfishly wanted you on because I've loved you for a long time. You light up a room, from years ago. You just have this special energy about you that I don't even know if you realize that you have. Yeah. But it's the creativeness also that I respect so much within you.
Well, Joyce, you have always been a safe haven in my life, going to these events that we shared in. I was left to my own devices to go find out where I can go, how far I can go to get away from my parents. And it was always you and Wayne that really just gave me this place that I felt very safe and very welcome and very heard.
I'm glad that you felt that. I mean, I love when we would just sneak off and sit on the steps and talk.
Yeah. And those were like pivotal moments that I needed in the mix of all of this like wide range of experiences that I was going through at that time.
Now, Adam, let me ask you this. For some people that are tuning in right now, a lot of people listen to the podcast. Some people watch, some people do both. But some people that may not be familiar with you, the 2 or 3 people that may not be familiar with you in this area, but also, nationwide, globally, give us a little Reader's Digest version of who you are and why you do what you do now.
I was very, very fortunate to have 2 loving parents. Both struggled in their own way. My mom has paranoid schizophrenia. My father's a Vietnam vet with some serious PTSD and some mental stuff going on there. And that afforded me a wide range of experiences in my life. I've gotten to meet so many people from so many walks of life, just whether they're living with us or just environments that I was brought into. I had a lot of experience in the mental health world. I just realized, and I don't know if you know this, but I was admitted into a child psychiatric hospital at 4 years old through my mother.
Really?
Yeah.
At 4?
At 4. Slightly after that, I was brought into foster care, taken away from both of my parents because it was just too much at that time. And the blessing came along with my father's mother, Bertha Florence Wickstrom Christoferson, this Swedish chef.
Name.
Oh my gosh! And she was quite a person, and she opened my eyes to poetry and Swedish pancakes and a real safe place to dwell. And she really got me started on something really special. I feel like poetry was a real godsend that she had given me, that exposure as a young kid. And so, time goes by. I went through a lot of challenges having these kind of labels. It's not an easy kind of transition to just...
It's just so sad people have to label people.
Well, yeah, especially during the early special education days. Yes. That was a very difficult time. Went through quite a bit of growing pains in the school system, and made it out. Found this really incredible family, the Feldmans, and Sue Feldman. She's a social worker. She thought what I was doing with music could be used in mental health places. And so she invited me to work with these women who had AIDS, substance abuse, dual diagnosis, all kinds of things going on. And she cut me a check, and I was like, well, I get to do what I love and help people. So, I got my degree in recreation therapy. I was convinced to go to college, even though I didn't want to go to school. And I started working at a Yale child psychiatric hospital. Now, my wife thought that this was just crazy. When I had told her recently that I was inpatient, we read the medical records from that time, and it said that Adam responded really well to music. Wow. Right?
Amazing.
In the hospital in the inpatient psych. And the first thing that I did when I got to work at Winnie One Child Psych at Yale was I asked my supervisor if I could bring my recording gear in and make music with the kids there. And it was in that moment that kids began to experience the power and the place of music and the safe haven of music. And I'd put headphones on them and a microphone in front of them and start creating music with them. And they would be immediately caught and captured by the power of music. And the medical director was like, whoa, like what's happening here? This is something special.
That is a common language. I mean, Joyce, you and I have talked about music a lot and our passion for it. It brings people together, generations, all parts of all people, ethnic backgrounds.
Big time.
It is really the common healer.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It is. It's so healing. Yeah. Bring up a lot of emotions.
And for you able to do
much.
that, for you to able, to accomplish what you've done, to take the adversity and use it as an opportunity.
Yeah, it's also out of necessity, right? Yeah. The mother of invention. Right. And so music, in the hardest of times, my father bought me a drum set at about 8 years old, right here in Branford. And it was a pearl blue drum set, and he put it in the basement, and I just conducted. I thought I was on stage with my uncle.
Wow.
And maybe it was even further spiritual. It could have been like, in the presence of the creator himself. I just felt like I could slam on these things and conduct a symphony in my mind. And
I'm Buddy Rich. I'm John Bonham.
Yeah. Let there be drums, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my exposure to music. I mean, I had that, and I had this very strange experience of living in Section 8 housing with my mother and being around incredible poverty with violence and all kinds of things. And then a limo would come by, pick us up, and bring us to a Michael Bolton concert, this huge experience that was phenomenal. And we'd get there, we'd open up the envelope, and I would grab the all-access pass as fast as possible and leave everybody with the, backstage pass. Even though I knew that the all access was for Helen, but I grabbed it, because I wanted it. And we would be at this show, and my grandmother would be on my side, and my father would be on my right, my mother would be over there. And it's just women going crazy with this rock and roll, huge sound with Michael Bolton's voice going off. And I'm looking at this experience as a kid, and they're like, that's your uncle up there, right? And his big hit came in '83, the year I was born, right? The year I was born.
The year he was born, Joyce.
The year I was born.
Fool's Game.
How am I supposed to live without you?
Well, I mean, Fool's Game was like the big one off the album, but How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? He wrote for Brannigan.
Yeah.
And then he covered.
And so
he covered his own song.
Yeah,
yes.
he covered it, and that's what. Yeah, they were all wondering, like, why are you trying to make it in rock and roll? It's not going to work. Like, sing the ballads already.
There's always naysayers.
And he's it was fair good. I think Columbia is the one who convinced him to basically go from saying, all right, well, we'll give you a 2-album deal. We'll do your rock and roll that keeps flopping over every major record label. Or you can do these things that all the secretaries are saying, like, this is the voice, this is the sound, this is what we want, right? And so he was making hits for all these other people, Cher and Laura Branigan and all these people.
Yeah. Kiss, too.
And Kiss, right?
Yeah.
Just, and countless products selling, trying to make a dime. He was broke, he was just trying to make it.
And that's what love is all about.
Oh my gosh.
Favorite
Don't get me started.
Ever.
Yeah.
These songs are huge in my body.
Yes.
I mean, these were songs that I was in the middle of chaos and turmoil, and I'd go to these concerts, and the songs of love and hope were just pouring out.
Soul Provider.
He broke my heart on that one.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember having the Soul Provider flyer in my hand, and Michael has a way of every concert he'd be in the audience halfway through, and then he would kind of walk through so people can like live out this fantasy of Michael Bolton walking up to you. And but he was my uncle, and I wanted him to walk up to me.
Right.
And so when I saw him, I would try to get his attention. And I remember one time, obviously, how do you pay attention to everything? But like he walked past me, so devastated. I ripped it up right there. I just ripped it up, just totally devastated, and then wait to get backstage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that was my thing was like, I believe that Michael was the savior. I thought that he was somehow going to swoop in and just make, my mother well, and make everything better. Yeah. Right. And like, to his credit, like, absolutely, he got my mother to a better apartment. He got my grandmother into a beautiful condo, and they didn't really need for money. Like, my mother is permanently disabled, and so she's always had state insurance. But anytime there was something that she needed, right, there wasn't a hesitation from his camp. But those times that we were backstage when, I said, well, you going to take me? Or am I going to go with you? It never happened. And so I had to do a lot of soul searching. There's a lot of things that happen to somebody who believes that, like, your family, so you got to take on.
So there are mixed feelings.
Oh, that's what love is all about.
Nice segue.
But yeah, I think it took me a long time to realize that it was the music that was going to set me free. Right. And so him being an inspiration to me as far as his work ethic and his tenacity to pursue what he was going to pursue at all costs. Right. And that's what he did. And he won. He got there.
Yes.
He made it.
He put the blinders on and went straight ahead.
And he went for it. Yeah. And he made it. And there's a legacy there.
Yes.
And so to me, those are certain work things that I have instilled in me that I know that are there. But I also know that he sacrificed so much time with family for the pursuit of a career, which is no stranger to an industry like that, or so many other industries of people climbing Mount Olympus, right? Yeah. You have to put the blinders on.
There's always a cost somewhere.
And that's fine, because, there's no possible way that anyone's going to get there by saying, well, I really got to stay home and make sure that my kids are doing, got their dad time with them. And so I know for a fact that he tried his best to do that, but the calling was just so great, and that comes from expectations, right? Expectations. And so, he's got a lot of people who expect a lot from him, and it's hard to meet those needs, and I have his music, and the music spoke to me. And that's the message that really resonated with my heart to get me through and focused, because I had plenty of opportunities to get into drugs and go the wrong way. Yeah. And I've lost lots of friends to drugs and all of those terrible things, right? Yeah. But for some reason, I'm part of something very special. And in about 2001, really trying to figure out who I was. I mean, I had quit drugs. I got heavily into songwriting and music making. And then I found spirituality through a relationship with God. Yes. And in that place, I saw a vision of musical intervention. And at the time, it was like Cafe Cave, Performing Arts Center for the youth, right? That was the whole idea. And so I started working with politicians. And once I had that vision, right? Once I knew that I was entrusted with something that had to happen, had to manifest in this world, right? Well, I had my blinders on. And so I started working with politicians to try to make Cafe Cave work. And that's when I was encouraged to start going to college. And then, go to college, figure it out. And then it just became musical intervention. And now it's brought me all over the world.
What a story. I mean, watching your videos and how this impact has had in so many people, whether it be in the inner city or people that are battling some kind of diseases, or, people with Alzheimer's, dementia. I mean, music is the common thing, like we were saying before. Yes. And look where you are in 2025, the impact you're having now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
it's
the ripple.
Amazing.
The ripple is
ripple
crazy.
effect.
The ripple is crazy. I mean, I opened up a space in downtown New Haven 10 years ago, coming up on 10 years. And this was really the vision. It was the space. It was the performing arts space. And I had the opportunity to work with Project Storefront at the time. So they gave me, keep in mind at this time, I'm on state insurance. I left Yale to run for mayor of East Haven. In 2013.
I didn't realize.
I tried to run for mayor, and it was during the taco incident and all that stuff.
Okay.
And just brought up all these issues, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my town. I'm gonna. This is what I'm going to do, right? So I got my political hat on, which Grandpa George was a politician for the Democrats, and he was an alder in New Haven. So I'm like, let me put my hat in. So I started my own party called the Trolley Party in 2013, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember
Quit
Quit
that.
my job. I'm like, all right, I got to raise money. So we raised $250, right? For our campaign fund was $250. And we got more votes than any independent in 16 years.
Wow.
Democrats offered us money to get out of the race because it's a 50-50
Wow, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, and then I realized politics aren't for me in any way, shape, or form because I'm not interested in like the payback thing. Right. I want to see the thing get done. Mm-hmm. And so it was like very obvious, like, it's like, that's not how the game is played. Like, this is all about do the person a favor so they can get you reelected.
Exactly.
So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how to work in that world. I just know that I have a vision and I'm going for it.
Right.
You
So
put your blinders on.
I had my blinders on.
Yeah.
So I thought politics.
right
I
here.
thought politics was it. I said
Yeah.
through politics I can make this thing happen, right? And then I realized quickly that no, that's not it.
There's a machine behind there.
So I became a mayor of musical intervention. I had a conversation with God.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with God, and God said, choose one thing. You got your music that you could pursue. You can go to Nashville. I used to live out in my car in Nashville, try to pitch songs. I did that for a while. You could do musical intervention, or you could do a combination of both. And I said, you know what, let me focus on musical intervention and see what I can do. So we got a couple small grants to work with the homeless. I was doing open mics at the soup kitchen. I was working at the homeless shelter, writing songs and recording songs with everybody there. I started working. By this point, I had contracts with a variety of agencies. I was working in so many different places, like drug rehabs, like the App Foundation. I was working in homeless shelters. I was working in school systems. I had worked at the Arden House on the dementia unit. And so music was just moving in so many, and everywhere I went, it was just this like reaction to music, right? So, all right, let's do this. And then all of a sudden I had these people with me, and the guy we were renting from was like, oh, we can't have these people here. Like, that's it. Like, we can't have homeless here. I said, well, then give me my deposit back. And he's like, you're not getting that back either. I said, well, you're fun to do business with. So at this point, it's December. We're trying to rehearse for a showcase, right? In a soup pantry. And we're like, okay, we need a place. And so just this opportunity arose through Eleanor Slumba. She was doing some work at the time with New Haven and Project Storefront. She goes, I have this place. It's about to be vacant. We can give you 6 months rent free. We'll cover utilities. I'm on state insurance. I'm living with a girlfriend. Okay.
Yeah.
No money.
Right.
Like I'm just barely.
Oh,
like,
who needs money?
Yeah. Putting myself together here.
Right.
And I say yes, because that's what you say when you're just turning 30 and you have this vision and there's an opportunity. You say yes.
And you figure it out later.
Well, I had to submit some kind of business plan. But there it was. Okay, now what? So then we start building. Well, I got to get a building permit. I got to figure out how to do a scaled floor plan.
Oh, that's
now.
not easy. That takes forever.
Oh yeah, you got to learn all that stuff. And then
Layers.
now you're dealing with politics again in the city, in City Hall. So we get it all. Now, 10 years later, this door is swung open to the most diverse group of people you'll ever know. Everyone is represented.
Yeah.
Every single person is represented. Young, old, everyone, right? And the common bond is, we want to help people. We want to come in and give music a chance to live. We want to celebrate each other. We want to be heard, right?
Yep.
A lot of what you're talking about in your friendship conversation. Somebody needs to be heard. And in this environment, in this sober environment, coffee shop environment, the commonplace is music. So the person who's busking or asking for money on the side of the street, you might not feel comfortable in that moment to give some money. So it's a negative vibe for a moment, right? If you do give, it's a great moment, right? But then all of a sudden you're at musical intervention, that person's on the drums and you're playing the guitar and singing and you're vibing. You have a deep connection. And in that moment you can communicate what's going on. We're fortunate enough to have free food there. We work with this really innovative program called Haven's Harvest, where they go to organizations that are throwing away their food with good enough time left, and they're repurposing it, getting to places that people might not have anything.
Yeah.
So we just provide all of this food and drink for free, air conditioned in the summer. It's really a wild ride, and we're recording people. We're writing. They're getting CDs. They're getting their music online. They're performing at the open mic every Thursday to a packed house.
You're giving people a purpose.
Oh my
There's
gosh,
so many layers to this.
It's
So
crazy.
many layers, so many moving parts here.
Oh my gosh, and don't get me started, because a lot of the people I know through working in different settings, inpatient psychiatric, school systems, and the challenges that they have in their life. And then all of a sudden I see the different pieces coming together, working together in this environment. And it really, I mean, if that wasn't there, their days would be going by searching for meaning. And that's the place that they get to do it. And I get to continue doing the thing that brings me meaning, which is making music and giving people the voice, right?
You're giving them a purpose each and every day.
It's
rather
crazy.
Than wandering off
Yeah.
the reservation,
Yeah.
which could be crazy.
Well, just because if I don't write myself, I forget who I am as a creative person. And then I start to think negative thoughts. I forget who I am. And it turns out that that's a common trait, that people, creative artists, have a hard time keeping up in capitalism. And, it's just a system that feeds lots of people, it starves some.
Yeah.
But where's the room for the artists who aren't selling paintings for, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars? They're dying. And you think of Van Gogh, the first person in the psychiatric hospital, not keeping up with capitalism, but the brother believed in his work and saw that there was something very special that needed to be preserved.
Yeah.
And so I get to surround myself with all of these Van Goghs going into different settings.
But unlike Van Gogh, you're being celebrated in your lifetime.
in your lifetime.
As opposed to him.
Yeah.
And we hope nobody chops their ear off. How it goes. Yeah. So the dream it was given to me, and it's just an amazing thing to watch it play out. The thing about a dream is you never know what it's like to run a dream and manage a dream, or try to build a team around a dream. So it's very much, if you think of Jesus, you think of this Jesus having the vision, right? This is, I see myself on the cross. I have to do this thing, but we got to do some miracles first.
One of my favorite phrases is, he wouldn't provide the vision without provision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love that. If he gives you the vision, he'll provide the provision, but in his time.
Right. And where does that provision come from? Because, even right now, one of our NIH grants is done. That was my salary. And so I'm like, okay, God, what door is going to open, right? And so I have to now, as I've learned, to try to be patient and watch the miracle play out in front of you. You know what I'm saying? But I think of the cast of characters that Jesus put together, right? These disciples that weren't your typical board, right? They're not your typical, we have a very influential
You could have put together a more
right?
savory group of people. I mean, right? I mean, it's imperfect.
Oh yeah,
like us.
Yeah, and relatable and real and non-judgmental, because they're so in it. You can't help but be real. And so that's I really relate to it. I really relate to that experience and being entrusted with the vision and seeing people like Moises Vasquez we have right now did his time, right? Struggled through his traumas and tried to keep up with this world. Had a wake-up call, right? Wanted to become a recovery sports specialist to help people go through the things that he went through, and he wants to use percussion to do it. And so we link up, and now my whole musical intervention is covered in all percussion, and he runs a drum circle that's incredibly successful. He calls "Come Make a Joyful Noise."
Yeah,
that's what he calls it.
I love it.
And so he's got this circle that we've had Yale study, and Yale looks at how this drum circle impacts people's anxieties. And so this guy who could have died, right, now comes into musical intervention, uses his drums as a way to heal other people and meet community, get paid to do these things and survive, right? And pursue his vision.
Not just healing himself, but healing others.
Healing others. Yeah. And so that's the goal. The goal is to provide that platform for people who want to be able to help people by utilizing their skills and their talents to make a better world. Because honestly, a lot of the people that are really suffering want to help others. It's their whole thing. And a lot of people, myself included, when times are good and you got some money and some comfortable things going, you don't want to put yourself back into the war zone. You kind of want to say, well, I've got something. Maybe I'll just go on vacation and try
apathetic.
Yeah, and that's okay.
You need to take
heal.
that break.
You
Yes.
got to heal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you brought up Jesus before. Even he couldn't save everybody. Even he had to say no at times. He had to go up to the mountain and
Got to go, guys.
exactly.
I need a break. I need to
Right.
reconnect.
Right.
Put my feet in the sand for a second. And so it's just been a lot. I mean, you got to think I built my 30s putting this whole thing together, going through people's really serious challenges that they have in their life, and then seeing them have the opportunity to create their music and sing on stage and be celebrated by their community and leave a legacy, leave with the CDs and things like that. Like, man, just to be called to that is just great.
In your private moments, you must kind of like look at your life and think, wow.
This is the private moment I get. I got 2 kids now. There's hardly any private moments. Maybe when I go to the bathroom.
Maybe.
Yeah,
little
definitely.
kids.
Yeah. Then the door comes up. And Daddy, can I? Just today, she said, she's trying to get a doll out of me. She goes, oh, we get this. But yeah, just
How old are your kids?
Oh my gosh, my daughter's 5. My son is 2.
What are their names?
Alina and Alex.
And Alex. What about your bride?
Oh, my beautiful wife. She saved me.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's going to be a story for. You know what? We have so much to cover here. You think?
Oh,
you
we're
can come
coming back.
for
We haven't even talked about claim to fame yet, and
Can we have you come back for a second episode?
Love to.
That would be fantastic, Adam. Thank you so much.
Maybe
for
we'll even
sharing.
sing a little song for us next time.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Definitely.
Don't leave home without it.
But thank you so much for tuning in to What's Good with John and Joyce, available on all streaming platforms. Please tell a friend about us who needs a pick-me-up. There are so many people out there nowadays hurting, and we just want to be your safe place to land. Warts and all, totally organic here. What's Good with John and Joyce. And we pray for you. We pray for your family. We pray for your healing, your prosperity, and we're just appreciative that you spend some time with us here, half hour every week. I'm John Cadillac Seville from iHeartRadio.
I'm Joyce Logan. Thank you so much, and bye for now.
See you soon. Adam, thank you.
Have the best. Thanks, guys.